I'm back. Okay, guys. So we kind of left off on the last episode about me talking about being sold from my father back to my family and then my uncle bringing me here. I want to rewind and go back just a little bit. I don't know the exact details of how and what happened with my father somehow holding me ransom, my mom being here. So I'm not sure how many years she was in America before I got here. But I did tell you about my uncle. My uncle is my hero. He's the only man, two uncles. I have two uncles. These are the two uncles. They are the only men in my life that never screwed me over. Otherwise, until I got married, now that I've been married to this man for 20 years, I've never seen respect from a man. So my judgment has always been off. And so I kind of started the same type of thing my mom did, where I met the same type of guys, bad guys. Not sure why we're so attracted to that, but I don't know exactly how much, but I heard it was millions of dollars. My father's family, my aunts, my cousins, they stayed in touch with me. They treated me very kindly. There was a couple people in that family that did not want me in it. They wanted me out. So I had two of my father's sisters that really loved me and cared for me, especially one of them. Her name is Victoria, you would say it in English. And she was my only hope from my father's side. And that is the lady that basically introduced me to pretty much everybody on my father's side, because he was in Iran and I was here. So thank God for her. I got to meet my cousins and a lot of great people from my father's side. And I have a brother from my father's side. His name is Brad. He's an incredible man. He's raising a daughter with so much love and just being the kind of father that he never had either. But I want to tell you guys, my father was a really good dad to two of his daughters, and he was a really good son to his mother, who actually had Alzheimer's. And people from his side of the family told me that he would carry her to bed, he would nurture her. So it wasn't that he was a bad guy with everybody. He just happened to not like me. I think I was a product of, my mom from his side. So he just didn't want anything to do with me. And then I kind of feel that I was the product of my father, and my mom didn't want anything to do with me. So I always kind of felt like it was all my fault my whole life. I always thought like, oh, I did that. Oh, he doesn't call me because I was a bad kid. I was a kid. I don't even know how I could be bad. Like, I just got chills right now from that, because that really did affect me, my life growing up. As I stated earlier, that people always look at me and think, oh, she'll be fine. And when you find out what I do for a living, you'll be like, oh yeah, she is fine. I'm fine now. But I want to take care of young girls like myself. Not young girls, young kids like myself. I want to be there for you, and that's why I'm ready to share my story. I'll bet you there are thousands of people out there who are missing parts of their life. And some people say, why do you even want to know? Well, you know what? It's my life, and I want to know. I want to know why I have all this post-traumatic stress. I want to know why I've had all these issues that I've had to deal with. It catches up, you guys. If you don't deal with those issues then, it catches up. And that is what I do now. I try to nurture people, take care of people. I'm here for you. If you want to comment below, you want to talk to me, I'm here for you. I just know how it feels to not be wanted, if that makes sense. Okay, so somehow whatever the purchase happens, I get here. So here's the crazy part. I get to America now, and my mom already has a life. As a matter of fact, she's already had great friends she's met. She signed up for college, and like she just had a life. So when I got here, she couldn't understand why I was like always holding on to her. Like literally, you guys, I remember this. My poor mom, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk so bad about you, but literally, you guys, literally, I get to America and she doesn't want to change her lifestyle. So I'm like, she hires anybody, nanny, babysitter, because, you know, she's going out every night. So she realized that every time she would go out, I would start screaming and crying. And you guys, the poor woman didn't understand. I had trauma. You left me. Who would leave their child? I've never left my children. So I had trauma. So I remember this, you guys. I remember I think I was like 7 or 8, because I think that's how old I was when I got here. Still don't know. I remember sitting in a psychiatrist's office with her, and the psychiatrist looking at her and saying, she needs you right now. You can't leave her with different people. Do you think that even registered? No, my mom came up with a better idea. I'll stick her in the closet when I'm leaving, and I'm playing hide and go seek. That's what she did to me, you guys. She would be like, go hide. And I would. And you guys, my body is shaking from it. That's trauma. I'm traumatized by that. And I would like come out from hide and go seek, and she wouldn't be there. And she was so naive that she didn't realize that that was even making things worse, because I just always felt like right when I was with someone, they would leave. And that affected me my whole life. Like my whole life. And I know you understand that, because if you've been through that, you know, like the jealousy. I had jealousy. I didn't trust anybody. As soon as someone said they love me, I was like, no, you don't. So like that was the hardest thing for me, to realize that my own mother still didn't get it. Lady, just be there for your child. You guys, it was so bad that the psychiatrist tried to convince her, just don't go out for a couple months and try to be with her. Take her on a little mini vacation, which she did. So I want to give her credit. She did. She started to take me on little San Diego drives. She was trying her best, but she always brought friends. So it was never, I mean, yes, it was a few times. It was just me and her. But there was always a friend involved. So it was never the mom and daughter. Like I've never had a mom and daughter time, ever. Like, you know, when you get to go out with your mom and dads for dinners, I've never had that. But I do have that with my own kids. So that's cool. So the trauma that I felt, okay, so let's talk about my mom and me, her going out every night now, and me just trying to figure out my life here in America. Thank God I had my one uncle that brought me here. He went back to Iran. And then I have a really great uncle here that was a father figure to me. He was a fantastic guy. His name is Elton. He's actually a really famous producer, and we'll talk about that later. I do come from a very famous family in Persians, and all around, like prestige family from the mom's side, and then mafia dad, very famous because he started everything, entertainment from Iran, concerts, all the Persian TVs that are here today are because of him. And his last name is Buzar Jomeri, and his first name is Ghulam. They called him Q. So in case you want to look him up, back then, I mean, you can look him up, but I don't think you'll find anything, because back in the 80s and there was no internet. Okay, but I have all those, and I'm going to share it with you. And that's why I wanted to do it on YouTube, so I can share pictures and his arrest and all that stuff. We'll get there. So the next few years of my life with my mom, I don't remember any of it. I do remember being with a lot of different people, like different babysitters. I even remember like a boy touching my shoulder and me not liking it. So I'm sure I've had bad things happen to me during that time, that I don't remember, because if you leave your child with anybody, obviously something's gonna happen. Even I feel bad. I had family members do things to me. I'm not gonna say who or what side of the family, but they were young boys. You don't leave a 10-year-old girl with a 14-year-old boy, okay? Or a 15-year-old boy. So I can't blame them. And they were older too, but anyway, let's just keep that aside. I don't want to spill the beans too much. So the few years being here in America with my mom, just trying to figure out life, she dated many different guys. You guys, it was just crazy. Like, for instance, the guy that was painting my house all of a sudden was dinner with us. For some reason, my mom was this socialite. She always wanted to go out. She always wanted to have parties. She always wanted to have guys. Not that she was like sleeping around or anything like that. She wasn't. But she just always had this really bad relationship with men. I never, ever saw a healthy relationship. Ever. Never. Until I saw my own. Married for 20 years. I never saw that before. We'll talk about that too, and all the mistakes I made along the way to find myself. But so yeah, those few years with my mom, it was like being with a teenage mom. So I kind of grew up really fast, and I don't really have much to say about that. I don't remember. I will, all of a sudden, my memory comes to 9 years old. So from born, I have very little up to 9 years old. And the things I'm telling you is pretty much little stories I can remember. I even remember that my mom put me in a preschool at USC or UCLA. I don't remember which one it was. And I just remember like the teacher having to constantly take me up to her class and like saying, hey, your daughter needs you. And then she would get upset. And then she put me in therapy. And then the therapist, I'll never forget, I told you guys, called her in, and I remember that specifically. He kind of looked at her like, you are a messed up mom. I felt that. Like, that was the first time I realized, I think I'm on my own with this lady. All right, so that's that. And then she's been married twice already in Iran. My real dad, remember, and then my brother. And now comes mafia dad. His name is Q. My mom married him when I was 9. I had a good relationship with him. He seemed to be really nice. He was cool. I didn't see anything wrong with him. He was very nice to me. He made sure I came on all the dates. He was a con artist though, man. He got my mom and I wrapped around his finger. And my mom, being the woman that's here with all the money, because her father basically gave her like a few $1 million back in the 70s. And so she had everything. My mother has never worked a day in her life. She did a couple times, and that will come later in our story. So, what was I saying?
He wrapped you around the finger.
Oh yeah, he got me wrapped around the finger with my mom, and somehow convinced my mom to marry him. He was nothing like somebody my mom would marry. Now, funny thing about him is he came from a very educated Persian family, very nice family. He was the only one that was like the bad egg. And of course my mom found that one out of all the people here in America. Good job, Mom. And yeah, so they got married. I don't remember, I remember the wedding. It was a very small wedding. And you guys, the first week he's married, moves into our house, my mom's house. My mom buys him a car. And all of a sudden he's like, takes over this house that I finally had to myself and my mom. I think it was like that long. I finally almost had a normal life. Like Actually, you guys, it was kind of like a normal life for a very short time. So when he enters my life, hello, welcome Q. He gets in my face. I'm like 9 years old. The first week he married my mom, and I asked him if I can call him Q. And he said, no, you call me dad. And I said, well, you're not my dad. And he looked at me and he goes, I'm your dad now. And he slapped me across my face. That was my first abuse from my dad. He had big hands. His slap mark stayed on my face for a week. 1 week, one slap. She saw it. My mom saw it. It was every single finger on my face. And the first thing she said was, what did you do? What did you say? Why are you trying to mess things up? That's what she said to me. So what did I do? Zip my mouth, thinking, oh God, if you open your mouth, you're gonna end up somewhere else. And I'm finally here. So I decided to obey his rules. And from then on, it felt like literally living with Hitler. You guys, he used to kick me in my shins. He was very mean. When he was high and drunk, he was the best. But let me just tell you guys, if I would walk by him and like he was mad at something, he'd be like, come here. And I'd like be like, what? Slap. You know, he just hit me. So I kind of grew up thinking hitting is fine. I mean, I want to share a story I did share on TikTok. He drove me to school. I'm like 9.5 years old. I was excited to have a dad drive me to school because it was always my mom. And my mom was very embarrassing driving me to school because she partied all night. And then I had to wake her up at the very last second when she had to just get in the car and drive me. And she looked like crap. And I used to tell her, don't drop me off in front of school. I was embarrassed of the nice cars. So anyway, he started taking me to school. And the third time, he saw me walking towards him, but I had left an altercation, fighting over some stupid ball. The girl's sister came up to me and I just threw the ball and walked away. And when I sat in the car, the first thing he did is got in my face and he goes, what was that? And I said, I don't know. I just walked away from a fight. I don't remember everything I said. And I just remember him grabbing my throat like that. And I was like, eh, and he was just holding my throat. And I just remember closing my eyes and he was yelling at me and I didn't know what he was saying. I was just like, don't move, don't talk. And we got home and I was so afraid of him. I took my bag, I went inside and he showed up to my bedroom with a belt. Shut my door. My mom wasn't allowed in. And for about 20 minutes, he beat the hell out of me. He really did. I mean, he beat me with the belt. As a matter of fact, he told me I can hit you with this side of the belt, but I'm gonna hit you with the belt buckle because you made me look bad. Nobody makes me look bad. We are not a weak family. Nobody bows down to a fight. You go back and you rip her face apart. You jump on her and you maul her. That's what he told me. Okay, well, I want him to be proud of me. So I did. Went back to school, waited after school, saw him there, and beat up the girl, you guys. I'm ashamed of myself. If you're that girl I beat up, I'm so sorry. I remember you. I beat you up. And I walked away. You were 3 years older than me. I had so much anger and rage. Literally had to be peeled off you. My father applauded me when I got to the car. He took me to El Torito. After that to Toys R Us. And he told me not to tell my mom. Shh, don't tell mom. And that's it. And that's how it began. I had to keep my mouth shut. He did not sexually abuse me, no. The very last time I saw my dad, before he was arrested and thrown in jail, he did stick his tongue in my mouth. So it was about to begin. Thank you, God, for getting him arrested. And that will come, the story will come. So, yeah, okay, I'm gonna tell you one more thing before we end this. I slept with my mom when I got back here from Iran it felt safe to be with her. And the very first thing he did the first week was he made sure to tell me that I was not allowed to come and sleep in the room ever again with her. Why? Okay. So I thought maybe he wouldn't get mad because every night I would go into her room. She would always say, go try it in your room first. And I said, okay. Well, about 1 a.m. every night I would walk to her room. So then I decided I won't go in their bed. I'll just sleep on the floor next to her on her side. And somehow that prick would find out I was there. And I wake up with him nudging me and saying, go back to your room. And I go back to my room. You guys, my very first time that I was touched by God was 10 years old. One of the times, the abuse was unreal when I was 9 years old. 10 years old, the abuse got to the next level. So I'm getting chills, that's why I do this. I remember that when I was 10, instead of taking me back to my room, he threatened to put me in the garage that I was afraid of because there was no door from our house to the garage. The garage was outside of our house. If you're scared inside your own house in the bedroom, how are you going to feel in the garage? So when I was 10 years old, he lifted me up. I didn't know where he was taking me, you guys. Carried me outside, put me in the garage, locked the garage door, came back home, locked the doors, and went back to bed. My mom is like, I didn't know you were out there. Well, he did that to me, you guys, for a few years, I think, because I'm claustrophobic. So that's the kind of things he started doing to me. He was getting me ready for bigger abuse. And I think I want to pretty much end it there. And I just want you to know that the stories are going to get crazy because he's not yet the leader of one of the biggest mafias in the Persian industry in the world. He's not there yet, but he's becoming there. He's a monster who's got money now. Now he's buying those shiny shoes and the pimp clothes. And I remember the very first time I saw cocaine. I was walking outside and I saw big glass on top of the table, or washer, I think it was. And I remember walking by and saying to my dad, what is that? And he's like, oh, no, that's nothing. Come here. And he took it and he put it all around my teeth and my lips and my mouth. And he said, no, this is just for people who have toothache. So I believed him. Well, guys, the next time we come back, which will be tomorrow, because I'm going to try to give you a little story every day, because my stories are going to get crazier and crazier. That's where I'm going to end it. I was touched by God at 10 years old. It was one of the times, for some reason, he didn't take me to the garage. I think it was 5 a.m. I think that's why. It was morning. He took me back to my room because he didn't want my mom to find out about the garage thing. So, you guys, I'll never forget this. I remember just curling up, closing my eyes, and just praying to God that he wasn't coming back. Is he going to wear shoes? Is he going to do something? He didn't come back. You guys, this is what I felt. I heard something walk in, literally put their hand on me. I got chills right now. And they just, when you pat someone like this, God patted me. I know it was God because I found out later. And my relationship with God is unreal. As a matter of fact, I was a guest on the Long Island Medium. And my person that came down to talk to me, the very first one, was God. So my relationship with God is unreal. And I felt God. And it kept just saying, it's going to be okay. And I just remember it was a moment of oh, God, this is so good. And I woke up. And then I knew from that moment on, you never have to go back to that room. Just stay in your room. God is there. I'm going to end it with that. So I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.